Hey coin friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a close look at the 1957 D. Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most commonly collected coins from the final years of the Wheatback series. And even though millions of people still find these pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or mixed lots, the value of this coin depends almost entirely on its condition. When a wheat penny from this year is in damaged condition, its price changes significantly, and that is what we are talking about today. Many people send pictures of their 1957 D penny and ask if it is rare, if it is worth hundreds, or if damage actually increases its value. The truth is that understanding the market starts with understanding the coin itself, its mintage, and how collectors judge the condition of a circulated coin. The 1957 D wheat penny was minted in Denver with a mintage of over 1 billion pieces, making it one of the most plentiful dates of the entire wheat penny series. Because of this huge production number, most collectors can easily find this penny in good condition for very little money. When a coin is extremely common, any damage on it brings the value down even further. And that is why damaged wheat pennies from this year usually sell for very small amounts. Damage on a coin can include many different things. Some pennies are scratched from years of circulation, some are bent or have rim dings from being dropped, and others have corrosion from moisture or chemicals. Sometimes the coin may have been improperly cleaned in the past, leaving the surface dull or unnaturally shiny. In some cases, people even try to polish the coin, thinking it will make it more valuable. But this actually removes the original surface and reduces the interest collectors have in the piece. When a coin has deep scratches, heavy discoloration, holes, bends, pitting, or any type of permanent surface harm, the grading companies and collectors both consider it damaged. Once a coin is placed in this category, it cannot return to a higher grade or a better price range, no matter what is done. Today's market value for a damaged 1957 D wheat penny is usually very low. Because the coin is common, collectors will only pay higher prices for well-preserved examples, especially those with original red color or those in mint state condition. For a damaged coin, the typical selling price is often between 1 cent and a few cents if the coin is heavily damaged. This means that the coin may only be worth its face value. If the damage is moderate, such as light scratches, uneven color, or mild corrosion, the value may go up slightly, but still usually stays between a few cents and a couple of dollars, depending on how the coin looks. In some rare cases, where the coin is only lightly damaged but still visually attractive, a buyer might pay a few dollars, sometimes up to $5 or $10 if the seller finds someone who just wants the date to complete a set. But overall, the majority of damaged 1957 D pennies on today's market sell for very low amounts. There are, however, some coins that can still have value, even when damaged. If a 1957 D wheat penny has a genuine mint error, such as a strong die crack, off-center strike, broad strike, or an unusual planchette error, collectors may overlook some of the damage and still pay more for the coin. This is because genuine mint errors are collected separately from standard circulation coins. But it is important to understand that not every odd-looking mark is an error. Most damage happens after the coin leaves the mint, and only trained collectors or grading services can confirm a real mint error. If you find a 1957 D penny with a strange mark, unusual shape, or odd raised line, you can compare it to known errors online or ask a professional dealer before assuming it is valuable. One of the most common questions is whether cleaning a damaged coin can increase its value. The answer is always no. Cleaning a coin almost always reduces its value. Even if the coin looks better to the untrained eye, collectors look at original luster and surface texture very closely. A cleaned coin loses its natural appearance and becomes less desirable. If a coin already shows damage, cleaning can make it even more obvious. Instead of restoring value, cleaning actually destroys more of it, so experts always recommend leaving the coin exactly as it is. Next up, the 1941D Abraham Lincoln. Wheat penny is a coin many collectors come across when they begin exploring older American cents. And it is one of the most commonly found dates in the wheat penny series. Even though it carries the historic Denver Mint mark, its value depends heavily on the overall condition and appearance of the coin. When a coin from this year is described as being in good condition with some scratches, the value will reflect both the normal wear expected from circulation and the additional marks that affect its appeal to buyers. To understand its realistic price in today's market, it helps to take a closer look at the coin's background, typical condition levels, and how collectors judge the presence of scratches or damage on circulated cents. The 1941D penny was minted during a period when the United States was preparing for major global changes, as World War II was underway. Despite the time period, production at the Denver Mint was strong. Over 128,194,1D wheat pennies were struck, making this date a common one even today. Because so many were produced and because many survived in circulated condition, most collectors consider this coin easy to find and inexpensive unless it is in very high grade. That large mintage plays the biggest role in determining its value in today's market. A coin is only valuable when it is rare, or when it is preserved beautifully, or when it carries a special error or variety. For normal circulated examples, collectors have easy access to better, cleaner pieces. So a 1941D penny with scratches does not fall into a valuable category. Good condition is a normal, lower grade used to describe a coin that has heavy wear from circulation. On a Lincoln sent in good condition, most of the fine details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat are worn down. The lettering and date are still readable, although some parts may be soft. On the reverse, the wheat stalks show mostly flat lines without much detail. This is expected for a coin that circulated for many years. When a coin like this also has scratches, these are considered surface issues that happened at some point during or after its years in circulation. Scratches can come from pocket where being stored with other coins, being dragged across a surface, or being handled roughly over time. Scratches reduce the visual appeal of a coin and can lower the value slightly, especially if they are deep or long. In today's market, a 1941D wheat penny in good condition with some scratches typically sells for a very small amount. Most circulated examples from this year, even without scratches, sell for only a few cents because of how common the date is and how many well-preserved examples are available. When scratches are present, the value usually stays in the same low range. A realistic market value for a scratched 1941D penny in good condition is around 3 to 10 cents. In many cases, buyers may only pay a few cents, and some coins sell for closer to face value depending on the severity of the marks. The scratches themselves do not make the coin rare or more desirable. Instead, they remind buyers that the coin has been handled heavily and is not a premium example. Collectors who want this date for their albums often look for pennies in fine or very fine condition, or for pieces with better eye appeal, which keeps the price of scratched examples low. There are, however, a few things that can increase the value of a 1941D penny, but these are not common. If the coin has a strong mint error, such as a visible die crack, a clipped planchette, or an off-center strike, the value can rise even if the coin has scratches. Error collectors focus on the error itself rather than the small surface problems. Another possibility is if the coin has an attractive tone or color that appeals to collectors, but this is rare in lower-grade coins. In general, most value for this date comes from uncirculated or high-grade examples, not from circulated scratched pieces. One of the important things to remember is that scratches should never be cleaned or polished. Many people try to improve the look of their scratched coins by wiping them or using chemicals. But cleaning a coin removes original surfaces and makes the coin less collectible. A cleaned 1941D penny often looks unnatural and can lose even the small value it originally had. Collectors almost always prefer natural wear over clean surfaces, even when scratches are present. Leaving the coin exactly as it is will protect what little value it has and preserve its originality. For people who are evaluating or selling a scratched 1941D penny, checking completed sales on online markets is the best way to understand its real-world value. Thousands of these coins sell every year, and most of them fall into the same price range. Expect buyers to pay only a few cents for a good condition example with visible scratches. If the coin has something unusual, that might be an error. A close examination by a dealer or experienced collector can help. But most scratched 1941D pennies are normal circulated coins. Next up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the more commonly found coins from the World War II era. Yet it remains an important date for collectors because it was minted in Philadelphia during a time when the United States was heavily involved in the war. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these pennies, making them common today. But the condition of each coin plays a major role in determining its market value. When a coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, it means the coin shows signs of wear and use, yet retains enough detail to be collectible. Understanding what collectors look for and how scratches affect the coin's price will help. Anyone who owns a 1944 penny understands its value in today's market. A 1944 penny without a mint mark was part of the regular Philadelphia production and is made of the standard composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. During this time, pennies were heavily circulated due to wartime economic activity, and many coins were used extensively before being removed from circulation. Fine condition for a Lincoln cent means that major details on the obverse, such as Lincoln's profile, hair, and coat, are still visible, though worn. The lettering of Liberty, the date, and In God We Trust remain legible, although slightly flattened. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are worn down, with only partial lines visible, but the overall design is still recognizable. When the coin also has scratches, this indicates post-mint handling that has affected the surfaces. Scratches can occur from being carried in pockets, stored with other coins, or dropped multiple times over the decades. While scratches do not make the coin rare, they do affect collectors' perception and market value in today's market. A 1944 Philadelphia wheat penny in fine condition with some scratches typically has a modest value. Because this date is extremely common, the majority of collectors will only pay slightly above face value for a worn example, even if the coin is free from serious damage like corrosion or bending. Market prices for a fine 1944 penny with scratches generally range from around 10 cents to $1. Coins with minor surface marks or light scratches may fetch toward the higher end of that range, while coins with more noticeable scratches or a dull, worn appearance may sell for closer to 10 to 20 cents. Even though this might seem low, the price reflects both the coin's abundance and the fact that most collectors prefer coins with less wear and fewer surface issues. Despite the modest value of these circulated coins, the 1944 penny remains an essential part of the Lincoln wheat penny collection. Many collectors aim to complete typesets, which include one coin of each date and mint, making even common coins important for completing a full set. This means that coins in fine condition, even with scratches, still have a market among collectors who are willing to pay a small premium to complete their albums. The coin is also historically significant because it comes from a period when the Philadelphia Mint was fully operational during World War II, producing coins that would circulate widely across the country. while copper resources were carefully managed for the war effort. One common question among collectors is whether scratches reduce the coin's value significantly. In the case of a 1944 penny in fine condition, scratches do affect the visual appeal, but since the coin is abundant, they do not make it worthless. Instead, scratches lowered the collectible grade slightly, which is why most coins with moderate wear and light scratches fall within the 10-cent to $1 range. Severe scratches, deep gouges, or other post-mint damage can push the value down closer to face value. But minor surface marks are common on coins that circulated for decades. It is also important to note that cleaning a coin to remove scratches is strongly discouraged. Many inexperienced collectors attempt to polish or chemically clean pennies to improve their appearance. But this actually destroys original surfaces and reduces value. Even a small improvement in visual appearance cannot compensate for the loss of original patina, and cleaned coins are less desirable to collectors. A fine 1944 penny with scratches that has not been cleaned retains its historical integrity and is therefore more appealing than one that has been altered. For anyone looking to sell or evaluate a 1944 Philadelphia wheat penny in fine condition with scratches, checking completed sales on online auction platforms or consulting price guides can provide a realistic expectation of value. These coins regularly appear for sale, and their prices consistently fall within the low dollar range. Even if the coin has minor scratches, it can still be part of a collection, offered to collectors completing date sets or kept as a historical piece. While it is unlikely to command a high price, it still represents an important era of American coinage and the ongoing story of Lincoln cents from the Wheatback series. Next up, the 1911 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the earlier issues in the wheat cent series and holds historical significance as part of the first decade of Lincoln pennies, which began in 1909. Unlike many common dates from the 1940s and 1950s, the 1911 Philadelphia penny is over a century old, which makes even heavily circulated and dirty examples interesting to collectors. This coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a warm reddish-brown appearance when clean, though most coins of this age have darkened over time or developed patina. When a 1911 penny is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, it typically shows signs of long-term circulation, grime, and environmental exposure, as well as minor post-mint handling marks, all of which affect the coin's market value today. The 1911 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, which was the only mint-producing pennies without a mint mark at that time. The mintage for 1911 was relatively high compared to rarer dates in the series, but it is still much lower than many mid-century pennies, which makes even circulated examples moderately desirable. A penny in dirty condition is one that has accumulated dirt, oxidation, and other surface deposits over many decades, and scratches on the coin's surface are usually from handling or contact with other coins. Collectors refer to this type of coin as well-worn, but it still has numismatic interest because of its age. Despite the wear, the date, and major design features, including Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks on the reverse, are generally visible, though faint in some areas. Scratches and dirt do not necessarily make the coin worthless. They simply indicate the coin is not in premium condition and must be valued accordingly. In today's market, a 1911 Philadelphia wheat penny in dirty condition with some scratches typically sells for a modest amount, because the coin is over 100 years old. There is still some collector interest, but value is heavily influenced by condition. Coins that are well preserved with minimal wear and original color can fetch much higher prices, sometimes tens of dollars or more. However, for a dirty, scratched example, the realistic market value is generally in the range of a few dollars. typically between $2 and $5, depending on how readable the date is and how severe the scratches and dirt are. Coins that are extremely dirty or heavily scratched may sell for closer to $1 or $2, particularly if a buyer is simply looking to complete a collection or acquire an older date for educational purposes. Collectors opt often buy early wheat pennies, even in poor condition, because they are part of the historical series of Lincoln cents. The 1911 penny represents an important period in U.S. coinage history. Just 2 years after the Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, even in dirty condition. It connects collectors to the early 20th century, a time when pennies were widely circulated and often spent daily in shops, streetcar fares, and household transactions. The wear, scratches, and dirt on the coin tell a story of its use and age, giving it a historical character that is absent from newer coins. While scratches and dirt reduce a coin's monetary value, they do not necessarily eliminate its collectible appeal. Some collectors specifically enjoy coins with age and character, appreciating the way they have been carried and used for generations. A 1911 penny with surface scratches and grime is unlikely to be graded highly by professional services, but it can still serve as an affordable way to own a piece of numismatic history. Because professional grading emphasizes condition, a dirty, scratched coin would likely receive a lower grade, such as good or about good, which is consistent with the price ranges seen in the market. It is important to note that cleaning a coin to improve its appearance is strongly discouraged. Many people believe that scrubbing or using chemicals will increase a coin's value, but this almost always backfires. Cleaning removes the natural patina, which collectors value as evidence of authenticity and age, and often leaves marks that further damage the coin. For a 1911 penny, leaving it in its natural state, even if dirty, preserves the historical integrity and ensures it retains the modest collector value it deserves. If you are evaluating or selling a 1911 penny in dirty condition with scratches, it is best to compare it to similar coins sold online or through local dealers. Most coins of this type will sell for only a few dollars, though the exact price depends on how legible the date is, how severe the scratches are, and whether the coin has any unusual features, such as a minting error or a particularly attractive dark toning. While a dirty penny will not command a premium, it still has worth to collectors completing early Lincoln cent sets, or those interested in historical coins from the early 1900s. Next up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the more common coins in the Lincoln cent series. Yet it still attracts interest from collectors, especially those looking to complete typesets or collect examples from every year. Unlike rare dates, the 1952 penny was produced in very large numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, making it widely available even today. However, the coin's condition plays a major role in determining its market value. And when a coin is described as being in damaged condition with some scratches, that clearly affects the price it can command. Understanding the value of a 1952 penny in this state requires looking at the coin's history, its physical characteristics, and how collectors perceive damaged examples. The 1952 penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia and composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. The coin features the familiar design introduced in 1909, the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat ears on the reverse. Coins from this period circulated heavily, and many were exposed to daily wear, handling, and environmental conditions. A coin in damaged condition may have scratches, dents, corrosion, or discoloration, and these marks often occur from long-term use, improper storage, or accidental mishandling. While some scratches may be minor and superficial, others can be deeper and more noticeable, reducing the coin's appeal to collectors. For damaged coins, the grade is low, and the market value reflects both the wear and the fact that this date is extremely common. In today's market, a 1952 Philadelphia wheat penny in damaged condition with scratches typically sells for only a small amount. Because the mintage was very high, most collectors can easily find coins in good, fine, or even uncirculated condition for a modest price, which makes heavily damaged examples less desirable. The realistic value for a damaged 1952 penny is generally in the range of 1 cent to a few dollars, depending on the severity of the damage. Coins with minor surface marks or light scratches may sell for closer to $1, while coins with heavy corrosion, bending, or deep scratches often only sell for face value or slightly above. Even though these coins are over 70 years old, their abundance keeps prices low for damaged examples, and collectors prioritize coins with better eye appeal. While a damaged 1952 penny may not be valuable in the traditional sense, there are exceptions. Coins that have genuine mint errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchette defects, can attract collector interest even if the coin is damaged. Error collectors are willing to overlook post-mint scratches or other imperfections if the minting anomaly is significant or unusual. However, most damaged 1952 pennies do not have such errors, so their value remains low. And most sales are driven by people completing date sets or buying inexpensive examples for educational purposes or collection. Fillers. It is important for collectors and sellers to understand that cleaning a damaged coin to improve its appearance is strongly discouraged. Polishing, scrubbing, or using chemicals to remove scratches or discoloration often destroys the original surface, removes any remaining collector appeal, and can reduce the value further. Coins in damaged condition retain at least some historical and numismatic interest when left untouched. Even heavily scratched pennies serve as examples of circulation history, showing how coins were used, handled, and aged over decades. A 1952 penny with scratches and damage is still part of the story of everyday American coinage during the early 1950s. And preserving that integrity maintains its modest collectible value for those looking to sell or evaluate. A damaged 1952 penny. Comparing prices of similar coins online or consulting local coin dealers will give a clear picture of its market value. Most heavily damaged pennies from this date will sell for only a few cents to $1, while slightly better examples may reach $2 or $3 if the scratches are minor and the coin is otherwise intact. Collectors completing typesets often buy such coins as filler pieces, so even damaged examples have some practical use. But they rarely command significant premiums. The abundance of 1952 pennies in better condition keeps the market value for damaged coins consistently low, despite its limited monetary value. A 1952 Lincoln wheat penny remains historically significant. It is part of the final years of the classic wheatback series, preceding the transition to modern Lincoln cents with different compositions and designs. The scratches and damage on the coin tell a story of long circulation, showing how it passed through countless hands and transactions. Even in damaged condition, it serves as a tangible piece of mid-20th century American history, connecting collectors to the era and preserving the legacy of the Lincoln cent series. While it may not bring high financial returns, the 1952 damaged penny remains a collectible example of one of the most familiar coins in American numismatics.